What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Big Steph, and listen, today we back with another video, man. Listen, if you back, do you know we here to react? You feel me? Nah, but today I got one of the most sickening cases. This is supposed to be one of the craziest cases that we ever seen. You feel me? They sent it to me in Discord. I haven't seen it yet, but we finna lock in today and finna. Dang, I can't even talk. Whoa, we finna see what's going on. You feel me? You know, I don't like to do too much talking. Without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get into the video.
On one cold and rainy night, 19-year-old Renisha McBride crashed her car on a Michigan street before hazily pulling herself from the wreck to look for help. Renisha was dealing with a concussion and a severe injury to her hand, but that wasn't all, and more would be uncovered about her mental state later. Despite this, Renisha made her way towards a nearby house and began banging on their door. Unfortunately, when the owner of the house finally opened the door, Renisha found herself facing the end of a shotgun and the end of her life. On November 2nd, 2013, the Dearborn Heights Police Department received a 911 call just after 4:30 a.m. from a man named Theodore Wafer.
I just shot somebody on my front porch with a shotgun, banging on my door.
After ensuring that Theodore wasn't a threat, the police questioned him on the night's events.
What happened here?
A consistent knocking on the door, and I'm trying to look through the windows, but every time I look through the windows in the door, it's banging somewhere else, so I opened up the door, kind of like, who is this? And the gun discharged. I didn't know there was a round in there. I don't get it. Who's knocking on your door at 4:30 in the morning? Bang, 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 somebody wanting in.
While Theodore may have claimed the whole incident was just a terrible accident, certain aspects of his story just weren't adding up, and detectives were determined to discover if they may actually be dealing with a cold blood.
We already see where this is going. You feel me? Now, it's certain aspects of knocking on your door, like, cause I'd have been like, I ain't gonna lie, growing up when we used to go play, we used to call it nigga knocking. Y'all might, you know what I'm saying? That's what we used to call it. We used to knock on people's doors and run off or whatever the case may be. Now, I've seen some instances where people got tired of that. And even then, like, they'll just hold a gun at you, hold you down, call the police. They ain't finna just shoot you right away. So for somebody to be this on alert to shoot somebody and don't know what's going on, they didn't answer the door. They didn't talk through the door or nothing. They didn't ask no questions. Just to shoot this girl is kind of crazy. It's kind of suspect. You feel me? Off rip. But we're going to see what's going on.
Killer.
Homeowner says there was somebody pounding on the door. He opened the door and like to say who the heck's out here, and his gun discharged and shot this black female in the head.
Damn,
she's rescue isn't here yet, but I'm pretty sure she's DOA.
According to the officers on the scene, the gunshot wound so severely damaged Renisha's head above her jaw that she was pronounced dead on arrival. Theodore, still in a state of shock, was placed into a police cruiser while the scene was secured and documented.
Not really, I mean.
What's that, sir?
I said that, I don't know,
Sit tight, man. See what we can figure out here.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
When Theodore first woke up to Renisha banging on his door, he may have believed there was potentially a dangerous force trying to get into his home. His body then may have gone into fight or flight and started to prepare for a potential threat by releasing adrenaline. This heightened state doesn't last for very long, and now that he's in the police cruiser, there's no possible threat against him anymore. With enough cursory information gathered, the police bring Theodore back to the station for questioning, and it isn't long before the cracks in his story begin to show.
And you got to realize, too, it's a difference between, like, if you know, you know. It's a difference between the knock of somebody trying to break in your shit and a knock of, like, need help type shit. Like, breaking on your shit, they trying to twist the lock. They trying to do all this. They jacking in and shit like that. Now, she wasn't doing none of that. Hey. Now, she was just banging like, hey, I need your help. She probably was saying help, most likely. Like, that's what most people in danger. So I'm pretty sure she was saying help, 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 or something like that. I'm pretty sure she wasn't going around the whole property knocking on every door. But who knows? We don't know. We wasn't there. You feel me? I'm just saying.
We just start out by I know you told officers at the scene, but I need you to tell me now. Just give me the scenario of what happened tonight. In your own words.
Well, I don't really know how these proceedings work. I mean, am I being charged? I mean,
no, sir.
Should I have a lawyer present? Do I,
Well, that would be entirely up to you.
I mean, this is a very serious matter. What just happened, I believe.
Well, it is a serious matter to the young woman that's laying in court. We have to do a thorough investigation, and we have.
Am I allowed back into my home now? I mean,
when the officers are done with the scene processing and when the ME removes the body, yes.
See, this is
So.
Theodore is very nervous and can be heard asking if he needs a lawyer present. If he did want a lawyer, this is an ineffective attempt at invoking his Miranda rights, as a request for an attorney must be clear and unequivocal. The officer is also being somewhat manipulative here, as he suggests that talking to him is no different than talking to the officers on the scene. While that might make sense at first, this is not the case. The primary job of the first responders is to secure the scene and gather basic information. During the interrogation, however, the detective will be probing much deeper and gathering information about Theodore's possible guilt. Currently, Theodore appears to be looking at the officer as a neutral party who can offer him support and guidance. However, it's important to remember the detective's ultimate goal in an interrogation is to secure a confession.
You made a statement to the guys at the scene.
Yeah, I heard noises, and it startled me. What these noises were. These banging, prying noises. First on the side of the house, and then front of the house, back to the side of the house, and front of the house.
Given the time of day, he may have assumed the person had bad intentions, especially since Dearborn Heights is known for its high crime rate.
Now, if he telling the truth right there, it makes sense. Like if she's going side to front, like the side to front. But I don't know nobody with a. I ain't gonna say that because if you got a pretty nice size house, you got a door on the side of your house. But any regular size house don't got a door on the side. You feel me? Maybe a window or something. But who knows? I don't know how his house is made. But it kind of it makes sense if he feel like somebody was trying to break in. If that's actually what happened.
With the average resident having a 1 in 55 chance of being a victim of a violent or property crime. To compare, the national average violent crime rate in 2021 in the United States hovered around 400 cases per 100,000 of the population.
Yeah.
I'm looking out the peephole, I can't see this person, I can't see that, what's going on inside. Every time I look out one door, the noise is going to another one, or the other side of the house.
So, at this point, are you getting frightened? Is your heart racing? What's going on?
Yes, I have no idea what's happening. It was getting louder. Okay. I thought at any time somebody was coming through the door or the window. It was getting violent.
So he's saying she was banging on the window.
Persistent.
Okay.
Especially on the front door. Very persistent.
Theodore specifically states that he thought someone was going to come in through his door or window. This further displays his belief that there was an immediate threat to him that would justify Renisha's shooting. The defensive tone Theodore takes is also reflected in his body language. With his arms crossed in front of his chest, he's creating a barrier between himself and the detective. As the ramifications of his actions become more and more apparent, Theodore becomes insistent on defending his choices.
How were you holding the gun when it discharged? I mean, tell me.
With both hands.
I mean, do you have it raised? Do you have it?
No, it's a pistol grip, so you just have to lift it up. So open the door with one hand, and when I placed my other hand, just like that she went off. I didn't expect it.
Theodore may be trying to lessen his responsibility in Renisha's death by removing himself from the action, saying it went off.
So pistol grip shotgun, you hold it up, boom. But the way they said they shot her, you had to have had great grip on the gun, which you wouldn't be able to do with a shotgun with one hand. They said she was DOA, like her face from up her jaw was just missing. I'm pretty sure you could do it with one arm, but it's kind of, you got to be real lucky, you know, because you shoot a shotgun with one arm, that's gonna do like that. So you probably gonna have spread fire, like, you know, higher on up. You feel me? You just gotta know your guns. I don't know.
Versus I pulled the trigger puts distance between him and the action and blames the gun rather than Theodore himself.
Okay, how high were you holding the gun when it went off?
Waist, and it was on an angle. I was
Waist.
as far as I can remember.
And she was in.
What do you think?
If he was holding it waist side, if he shot it, he wouldn't have shot her in her face. Even though she was short, at her waist or even at his waist, if it would have went off, it wouldn't have shot her directly in her face, above her jawbone. You know, you gotta think about this, man.
That when you were holding the gun, that it was on an angle like this. Could it have been like this?
If I'm opening the door, I have if I open the door,
Okay.
that quick. It's a pistol grip.
Here, the first cracks in Theodore's story start to show. He claims to have been holding the gun at waist height. However, when taking both Theodore's height and Renisha's height into consideration, he would have had to have been holding the gun at chest height, pointed straight out, in order to shoot Renisha in the head.
Told you.
This discussion about the gun placement is vital for the case. Holding the gun at his waist could mean that he was just reacting to the potential threat, and more likely it really was an accident. While holding it higher, at his chest height, it means that he could have been consciously aiming it, possibly with the intent to shoot. Based on what the detective has seen, he knows that Theodore can't be telling the truth about the way he was holding the gun. While it's entirely possible that Theodore is being deceptive in order to make the shooting seem more accidental, it's not unusual for individuals who are involved with a traumatic event to distinctly remember some parts, while other parts are fuzzy. This is one of the reasons that eyewitness reports are never as accurate as we think they should be. According to Michigan's Castle Doctrine, you're allowed to use deadly force on someone who's breaking into your home if it's necessary to prevent great bodily harm to yourself. Based on Theodore's own account of the night, by the time he grabbed his shotgun and decided he'd had enough, he wasn't in any immediate objective danger. This, alongside the fact that he opened the door up to the danger with the intention of dealing with it, could potentially negate the Castle Doctrine as a valid defense.
I don't even know. I did not look at the body. I didn't stand over it and see where the wound was. I immediately put down the weapon right there on the hallway or, the entry to the front door and looked for my phone. First called here, your Dearborn Heights. We're talking boom. And boom.
As he prepares to wrap up the interview, the detective brings someone else in to help ask one final question.
You have, where do we take his shotgun, shell casing?
So we took your Mossberg. There was a spent shell casing in the shotgun, and you had your green shotgun case. So we just tossed it in that and took the gun with it. There was one shell casing, so what, there was just one in it all the time, or what?
Yes, like I was just trying to explain, I couldn't remember if there was one in it or not. I kept my shells in a separate closet, so I got a little paranoid a few weeks back, got paintballed, so I maybe that's when I loaded it, put it in. I mean, I don't think I mentioned that to you, but I mean, that's what I put one in there or something like that, but I did not realize there was one in there, no.
Following Theodore's interview, the police spent quite some time digging through every aspect of the case to make sure there was no crucial detail left out. During this investigation, they found out some intriguing details regarding the hours leading up to Renisha's death. According to police records, a 911 call was placed just before 1 a.m. to report a no-injury accident where a woman who was driving under the influence had been speeding down the street and struck a parked car. Although the woman driving had clearly been disoriented and possibly confused when she got out of the car, she had left on foot and wandered away from the scene of the crime. Police didn't arrive on scene until they received a call stating that the driver had come back to the scene. Unfortunately, by the time cops and EMS responded, she was already gone again. This driver was Renisha McBride, and had anyone been able to stop her from wandering off in her delirious and drunken state, she may never have ended up on Theodore Wafer's front porch. On the flip side, some say Renisha would have never ended up on Theodore's porch if she hadn't been drinking and driving either. You'll notice that was a 3-hour difference between the time that the 911 call was placed about the car accident around 1 a.m. and Theodore's call to 911 at 4:30. To this day, it's unclear where Renisha was during this period of time, but her family believes she was disoriented from her head injury and seeking help. Theodore eventually received charges for murder in the second degree and manslaughter, as well as a felony firearm charge. While Theodore may have claimed that his gun accidentally misfired during his initial interview, this claim actually changed by the time he got to court. Instead, he and his lawyer were insisting that Theodore intentionally fired out of self-defense because he was scared that Renisha was trying to break in. Despite Michigan's Castle Doctrine, the judge ultimately ruled that nothing Renisha did was intense enough to justify Theodore being legitimately scared for his life. In the end, Theodore was found guilty on all charges on September 3, 2014, and received 15 to 30 years for his second-degree murder charge, 7 to 15 years for the manslaughter charge, and
15 to 30, 17 to 15, and if this ran concurrently, bro, that's crazy. And that's what I was saying though. She didn't do nothing crazy like for him to be in danger, and then you walking out to take care of the danger yourself. You putting yourself in danger at that point. If it was danger, you feel me? I don't feel like he should have shot her. I just feel like he probably was in a neighborhood where things just go on, and he just got tired of that shit, bro. That's what I feel like. I feel like he just got tired of shit. Like, y'all keep fucking with my door. Y'all keep. I got something for y'all. Boom. And he probably tried to scare him, tried to hold it up, thought it was somebody playing, somebody needed help, and he pressed that trigger, bro. Yeah, cause it ain't going off by accident, bro. Trust. He pressed the trigger.
a 2-year sentence for the felony firearm charge, with all of these sentences served concurrently. While Michigan may not have the death penalty, Theodore's lawyer argued that the judge had basically given the then 55-year-old man a death sentence, as he's likely to spend the rest of his life paying for his actions. Just when it seemed that Theodore's case was officially put to rest, he made an appeal in 2015 to overturn his conviction. To the surprise of many, the Michigan Supreme Court heard Theodore's case and actually vacated his manslaughter conviction. In Michigan, the second-degree murder statute requires that the defendant acted with malice, whereas the manslaughter charge implies that the defendant didn't. Seeing the contradiction in these convictions, the court determined that having both convictions was a violation of Theodore's rights. With one of his convictions vacated, there was a slight chance that Theodore could come out of this with a shorter sentence. However, at his resentencing on June 22, 2022, the judge stated there were strong reasons for Theodore's original sentencing and gave him 15 to 30 years for second-degree murder. While he may no longer have the manslaughter conviction, ultimately Theodore will serve the same amount of time behind bars.